Good morning, everybody. My name is Jody. My husband David John and I have a small farm in the panhandle of North Idaho. This is our stories and adventures, so welcome to Moose Flats Farm. And today, on this rainy gray day, we're going to go up to the seed shed and start getting our flowers and herb seeds planted. So meet you up at the seed shed. So I have gone through and basically kind of set everything out as to what's going into what trays. So it's like marigolds, 3 more marigolds, the cosmos and zinnia seeds are going there, petunias and the violas and pansies, and then up here are going to be our echinacea, snapdragons, dianthus, and then more pansies and bachelor buttons. But over on the seed starting table, where we're going to start first, we're going to be doing the stevia and the rosemary in the smaller cells. And then in this tray, show you what we're going to start, because what we're going to be starting in here is going to be the columbine seed and the milkweed. So these ones need to be cold stratified, which basically means they need to go through a period of being cold, which is why last fall I sprinkled a whole bunch of columbine seeds out in a couple flower beds. So they should come back up this spring. So we're going to go through, get these guys planted, and then they'll go in the refrigerator down at the house for 3 to 4 weeks, and then we can bring them out to start them germinating. I would put them up in the greenhouse itself. It's just the temperatures have been pretty warm for us. It's like today is raining and like 45, so that's not quite cold enough to do the cold stratification. So let's get these guys planted. And I am going to be, because these are deeper cell, bigger pots, and I do want the plants to be in here for a little bit longer than like in these guys, because the fact that seed starting mix doesn't really have a lot of nutrients in it. So it's great for starting your seeds because it stays nice and loose. It just really doesn't have anything to feed them. So if you're going to keep them in the trays for longer, you will have to fertilize. So these, the stevia and the rosemary, once they reach a certain point, they will be transplanted up. So in these guys, I'm going to fill them about 3/4 of the way with potting mix, then do a little layer of the seed starting mix, and then seed starting mix over the top, so that way they've got the loose soil to be able to grow up through, but then they have fertilized potting soil down below for them. So let's start getting these trays filled. Okay, so the columbine and the milkweed are labeled and ready to get bottom watered. And as you saw on the time lapse, the milkweed is planted about 1/4 of an inch down, and the columbine seed is pretty much right on the surface of the soil. I just sprinkled a little of the potting or the seed starting mix over the top of it. Once it has soaked up all the water that it can, I will tamp it down a little bit and go put them in the refrigerator. So now let's get set up for the stevia and the rosemary. So as you saw in time lapse, the stevia is a surface planted, so that's why I haven't pushed anything down, just because I don't want to bury the seeds and they're so tiny that they can just get lost. So I'll just let the moistening of it to bring them into contact really with the soil, because I don't want to bury them, because stevia is kind of a finicky plant to grow. The rosemary is planted a 1/4 inch down, and I did tamp the soil down. So let's get these guys labeled and on to the next one. Okay, before we start the next round, which is going to be marigolds, going to just go over the soil mixes that I'm using. And as I've stated before, I am not organic. We try to grow as naturally as possible. We've always had good luck with Miracle Grow. I do a combination of Miracle Grow and Sunshine potting mix when it's in season from David John's work, which is more on the organic side as opposed to the Miracle Grow, but all I have right now is Miracle Grow. So that is what the potting medium is that I'm using. For the seed starting medium, I am using a combination of Jiffy, which I find has a tendency to have some small sticks and chunks of bark in that I gotta kind of sift out, and a bag of Miracle Grow potting mix. So it's 2 of the bags of the Jiffy to 1 bag of the Miracle Grow. It just adds a little tiny bit of fertilizer. Even though it's not a natural fertilizer, it is just a little bit just to give them a boost. So I'm gonna go through, get the marigolds started like I did on the columbine and the milkweed. Gonna do a layer of the potting mix and then the seed starting mix. And marigolds are planted at a 1/4 of an inch deep, so get these guys going. Okay, so we've gone through and gotten all the plants planted. They are under the lid on the germination table with lots of water in the trays. And it'll probably take till tomorrow for the soil to absorb all the moisture that it needs. But I do have 5 empty trays that probably tomorrow we can go through and start getting some brassicas planted. But the next project that we're going to work on, and I know I'm running out of room in here, but it's just going to be tight in here for about a month, and then the greenhouse will be up and running because the brassicas will be moved out there and the little trees will get moved out there. Is I picked up this peony mix, and it came with 3 plants, but as I was going through there were several root pieces in the bottom of it, and it's like this one has got growth on it. This big one's got a flower or growth coming, and growth coming on that one. So was able to part it out and have about 10 chunks of peony root there. So ran around scrambling trying to find something to get these guys started in. So what I've come up with, because they have to be planted super deep, is I've got this tote that's got holes in it. I have lined it with a garbage bag and have it in a box. So we'll plant the peonies in there and then put about 6 inches of soil over the top of them. And then, like I said, in about a month it will go up to the greenhouse. So let's get these peonies planted, and later this spring we'll see how many we get. So I already have about 6-8 inches of soil in here. I'm just going to place the peony root tubers down and then put about 6 more inches of soil on it, move it over into its spot, and then get it watered. And I'm careful, like on this one that does have a growth bud that I see coming up, to plant it with that part coming up, and hopefully the camera focused on that. So they're kind of placed. They may be too close, but all this is to get them started, and then this spring I'll pull them out. Some are going to go into my father-in-law's bed that I'm going to be building, and some are going to be for me. Okay, so that gets it buried about 6 inches. Gonna slide it over and get it watered in, and be back with you guys tomorrow to start planting some brassicas. Okay guys, so it's been 3 days since I have planted the flower seeds, and I did go through, as you saw in the time lapse, and get the brassicas planted. So let's check out this crazy germination table and show you what brassicas I got started. Okay, so we do have a couple marigolds there popping. See the little tiny stevia plants coming on. Nothing on the pansies back there, or the snapdragons, echinacea and dianthus, but do have a couple marigolds here going, and the crazy cosmos and zinnia mixes. Absolutely loaded. And nothing on these, what are they? Pansies and bachelor buttons. But as far as the brassicas, we'll start with the cauliflowers. I've got 4 rows of the snowball, 4 rows of the amazing, and 4 rows of the roper. In the back there we've got 2 rows of green sprouting cauliflower, purple, 4 rows of the Willamette, and 4 rows of the Sun King. And then over here, because I did find some more cauliflower or cabbages, so we've got 4 rows of the Copenhagen, 2 rows of the Flat Lake Dutch, 3 rows of the Golden Acre, 2 rows of the Glory of, not sure how to pronounce it, and then the purple one. So these guys probably should be popping within the next couple days. But isn't that amazing? Just 3 days later. So I am going to have to go through and do a little rearranging so I can get those cosmos that are really popping more under the light, because I don't have the light system completely set up on the shelves. Now it's become a #1 priority, so these flowers don't get leggy. So this is where I'm going to end today's video. Thank you for coming along and helping me plant seeds. Until the next adventure, bye for now.